A beaded curtain separates my naked seated bum from the traffic of kinksters putting their belongings into cubbies, anticipating a fun night at the Pretty in Pink event. I hear, "Can I get in there? I don't need to pee. I just need to wash my hands." Like a dummy, I asked, "Why do you need to wash your hands?" "I've got pussy on my hands." I just went with it. Who talks about washing their hands of pussy juice so they can quickly move on to the next? I am not like these people. I'm definitely not sexually deviant, but I was desperate to get out of the house for just about anything post-COVID. And I ended up here.
I walked up the long steps of an unassuming gray building at a warehouse lot around 10 p.m., my Uber driver having left, leaving me feeling completely alone and out of my depth in a pink miniskirt and black bralette. I ended up here because I was in my early 20s, post-COVID, desperately seeking out something connective. Before COVID, the gas lamp quarter filled with horny men who'd try to grind their way non-consensually onto me during loud music I hated made me squirm far, far away from traditional clubs. A sex club that emphasized consent on their webpage seemed more hopeful. When I get to the top, a beautiful bodybuilder man greets me and I enter. I feel oddly overdressed. Everyone else is in lingerie or already topless and matching the Pretty in Pink theme for tonight's kink and swing sex party. As I wandered the premises, I spotted a man at a St. Andrew's cross flogging people to rhythm, and I turn around. "Thomas? Almost was my therapist 2 months ago after an initial 30-minute Zoom meet." Zoom meet Thomas, who I didn't end up going to because of incompatible insurances. Thomas. We lock eyes for a brief second of have we really met before? I go up to him, ignoring the awkward we might know each other dance, and simply ask for him to flog me. He does. My God, how did we get here?
Like most young women in the 80s, I was sold a code for a happily ever after life. I was from a big fish family in a small town pond, so following this code really mattered. We were not comfortable discussing normal things like sex, or feelings, or shame. I never knew my younger sister was smoking pot or in therapy. Finally, love is implied, not expressed. You have a roof over your head, don't you? After serially dating nerdy, pot-smoking, skater musicians who wanted me to watch them surf, I married the complete opposite. A Navy, Jack Mormon, Arizonan, who love-bombed me and proposed way too soon. I'd been conned by both my tribal code and my now ex-husband. I did everything right, and everything fell apart. So I said, fuck the rules. And I tried just about everything I could to cobble my life back together.
As a kid, I externalized deep emotionality through tantrums my grandpa dubbed screamy memes. They included me ripping off curtains and peeing on the floor. My emotionality stayed as potent, but became more internalized as I grew up. Consequently, I never shared raw emotions with friends and felt alone until I met Fluffy. The second time I went, it was an 80s party. I'm dressed head to toe in bright blue and pink neon, showing more skin than last time, and am greeted by a guy my age named Fluffy. He turned my introversion into extroversion. We snuck away to an unclaimed bedroom before more party attendees showed up, and we talked. We talked about kink, we talked about our sexuality, we talked about pieces of our upbringing, and I felt safe with him. At a sex party where everyone found flings, I found friendship. I told him how much I valued his openness because it's not an openness I was used to. He hugged me, and we kept talking. Fluffy was one of the first friends in my 20s I felt connected to because of the raw, unfiltered conversations we held with each other, which we would continue to have every subsequent event. Following the beautiful emotional dance of dialogue between us, we decided to greet more guests together before 80s parties announcements and walked over to a couple in their 50s.
On our second trip to the club for an 80s party, my boyfriend and I met a beautiful young couple, Justin, who everyone knows as Fluffy, and Jessica. What? No way! I had to share that I used to be part of a Justin and Jessica couple.
My social skills are a lot like if you take a cat out for a walk at a dog park. I want to retreat, hide, and sometimes hiss if I'm really unsure about a person. Fluffy did the talking for me, so I could at least keep up appearances with kind of seeming sociable. "And what's your name?" he asks.
I'm Jessica,
says the red-haired woman. Her partner stands a little idly like me. "Oh, cool. This is also Jessica," he gestures to me. I wave, and I
begin telling her, hang on, how cool it is that we have the exact same name and that we should get huge Mount Rushmore matching tattoos in drag on our backs. Fluffy was very friendly. He knew everyone and was pulled away to dole out spankings throughout the night. Jessica was the most strikingly beautiful person I'd ever met in real life. Although Jessica was aloof the first time we met, I sensed it was just shyness like my own. When two shy people meet, it's like a silent standoff, each waiting for the other to make the first move. Despite being half my age, she seemed to really enjoy talking to me. This was new. Every party had announcements. It's the only quiet time when everyone stops, listens to the rules, and sizes up the other attendees. Time stops, and I found myself magnetically pulled into the empty space next to a young, fit, nearly naked, cherub-haired twink of a man in pink neon spandex shorts. It was Fluffy. I did the unthinkable and put my arm around him, an almost stranger. I started twirling his curls, and he gently rubbed my shoulder. What was happening? Not knowing any better for small talk, I went through my resume, jobs, life experience, how I was special and interesting and cool, of course. He didn't know what state Madrid was in. I was judgy and made assumptions. He made pottery, and he would bounce around like he was spinning fire, similar to how he would flog anyone who asked him. I learned that he was collared. I told him that I wanted to start wearing collars, but I wasn't sure if it was okay, since I just like the way they look, and I didn't want to break any of the rules. Fluffy said I should wear whatever I wanted, and if I wanted to try out a collar, I most definitely should. He said that a lot. Most definitely. After that first cuddle, it became a special tradition. If we were at a party together, the two of us would find a spot to sit closely, hanging on each other in an innocent maternal energy exchange. It was unspoken and expected. I would fish for compliments, ask about the kinkology, and absorb the magic. I never got over the tone or the awe of being with people who were so free of inhibitions. The best part about it is that I felt like I belonged. What the fuck? Remember, I was not like these people. Wait, did I belong?
Most definitely.
My now husband and I kept attending parties regularly for the next year. We never saw the other Jessica do anything sexual.
And they never stripped their clothes off to go jump on a bed together at the party either.
As the only 3 non-sexual people at a kink party, who love simply existing in a space where inhibitions get thrown out the window,
We kept bonding,
started carpooling,
and gradually, the safety I first felt in Fluffy, I started to feel with them.
I was evolving. I could be my weird self, the real me that I wasn't even sure I really knew. That club that had seemed so foreign and taboo was a magical place. Oh yeah, and for the first time in my life, I was hot.
April 2022 comes along. I receive a text after posting a cute photo of Fluffy and I to social media. It says, "He'll be missed." Wait, missed? I feel my heart pounding, with a lump starting to lodge up in my throat that needed relief of good news. Was he traveling? Did he decide to stop going to events?
I got a surprise text from tall, beautiful Jessica. It said that Fluffy was killed the day before.
Grief consumes me. The lump in the back of my throat now feels like a bone, uncomfortably lodged with no place to go. I'm home alone and don't know what else to do other than cry, kneeling on the floor.
He was murdered. Stupid fucking thugs in a Long Beach parking lot shot him and left him to die. He was rehearsing fire spinning in preparation for Burning Man. I knew how much he was looking forward to it. I cried for lots of days, on and off, big heaving sobs. Going back through my camera roll of our few pics together and wishing that I could have one more cuddle. I couldn't believe, one, that I knew someone who was murdered, and two, that I was grieving so hard for somebody that I barely knew. Jessica and my partner and I went to the memorial at the club where we had shared those magic moments.
A dominatrix close to Fluffy led the grief circle. There were blankets and pillows, all with the beautiful backdrop of the St. Andrew crosses Fluffy loved bottoming on. I sit next to Jessica, and everyone shares memories, writes down quotes Fluffy would always say, and places a flower in a vase for him.
When Jessica shared and started crying, I immediately took her in my arms and I told her that I loved her. I did, and I do. I've heard it said that we make a million decisions each day, and that one was a no-brainer. I learned a lot about expressing love from Fluffy. Everyone who knew him knows exactly what I mean.
I never cried in front of anyone if I could help it. But grief, especially grieving over my first real loss of a friend, moved tears in a relentless, uncontainable way, and moved me to want to vulnerably connect with the red-haired lady I thought was a little out there when I first met her, and her partner, who had the same cat-like approach to socializing that I did. 3 years later, she and her now husband are one of my closest friends. I have their house key, have oddly met their adult kids about my age, and get to play dress up with them by going through their dresser drawers full of stockings, Fluffy's accessory of choice, skirts, and lingerie. I make almost weekly appearances. No one in our lives quite knows how we met, or if we are a throuple or not.
And even though we aren't, we like confusing kinky and vanilla people alike. We most definitely didn't expect our friendship,
Or shared grief,
but we grew in it together,
bragging about our most recent cry sessions,
and expressing the fuck out of our love for each other.
Fluffy introduced us to each other, and it feels right to keep our slightly untraditional friendship going. Nothing bonds you together more than a grief circle at a sex club.
All right, give it up for Jessica Zimm and Jessica Hall.